Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. They're on assignment. Well, really, they're just with the family doing Christmas festivities, but I have none other than AD Drew that I'm able to coax and told him to get on so we can do a show, our regular show that we do Tuesday and Thursday. And so we're here on Christmas Day. So we hope that you first had a good Christmas. Hopefully you're having great holidays. As my son wanted to make sure I got this DAP in, so I showed it to him. Talking about HBCUs. So want to show a little love appropriately from that perspective. Speaking of Deuce, we are entering a new framework. Some of you may be aware that Deuce, my son, 11-year-old, follows me quite a bit. And oftentimes he gets to travel and see games and things of that nature. So him and Myles I didn't realize it, started their own show. And they did it on YouTube until YouTube realized that they were children, or youths as we like to call them, that they pulled the show. So this is a chance for us to, on Christmas Day, family atmosphere, and bring everybody together. Is Dr. Cavil's HBCU Sports Lab for Youth with Deuce and Myles will debut. We'll bring them in the second and third segment to talk a little bit about sports, HBCU sports, to see what their thoughts are on the football season in the past and basketball season coming up. With that being said, welcome to episode 761 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora. All things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the stories of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we like to call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host. Today is AD Drew, and later will be co-hosted by Deuce and Myles. As I said, they'll debut HBCU Sports Lab for Youth as they get going. Well, we're from our home studios, as you can tell. As we always like to say, and connected with the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let me bring on AD Drew. Drew, how are you doing today, and how is your Christmas?
Doc, my Christmas is going fine. You know, this is probably only the second time today, maybe the third time today that I have been out my big chair. You know, I've got the lazy boy recliner. They made me put it in the bedroom. They didn't want it in the living room, so I had to put the lazy boy recliner in the bedroom.
So you good shape.
So outside of going and getting my plate, you know, that's about as far as I've been as my lazy boy recliner today until coming to do this show today, Dr. Cavil. So what more can a brother ask for, you know, especially considering what I do for a living, college athletics, college athletic administration. We don't get too many days off. So a day when I don't have to turn on my computer, I don't have to look at my cell phone for text. You know, even when teams are playing away, you still have to be aware of texts as things may be happening on the road when you're not traveling with your team. So it's just a day to, if I had hair, Doc, this would be a day I could let my hair down.
I like that. If you had hair. Speaking of hair, mine is doing its own thing. With that being said, Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. Excited, hopeful lab folks that have had and opened their gifts and celebrated with family. Keep in mind for those that may have lost family or trying to deal with that, we certainly want to keep our prayers for them.
Tough time of the year, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah.
For those who have lost that first Christmas without that special loved one, and even if you've done multiple holidays without that special loved one, it's still always tough this year. And I'm going to throw in a tough caveat, and this is for me and my family. When you actually lose someone during the holiday season, as I lost my aunt yesterday, so waiting on the arrangements for that so that I know how I have to plan my travel probably sometime around the new year. Is my family roots on my mother's side are from Mississippi, northern Mississippi, not too far from Valley. So they less than an hour from Valley, between Valley and Memphis. So on Highway 61, if y'all know where that is.
I appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to share that with us, and you're absolutely right in various ways. While a lot of us get to share that, we certainly want to keep prayers and say condolences to you and others that are dealing with similar situations. So make sure you take care of yourself as much as possible and love on those that you have around you, because you just never know.
Yeah.
When we talk about that, let's get into some HBCU news as we moving forward. What's hot on your plate in terms of this week? Obviously, usually a pretty slow week in terms of HBCU news, but some folks, we kind of teased on this a little bit from Tuesday, were able to get their coaching hires completed before they got into Christmas. Some folks are still on the vine looking for that, but outside of that, what's hitting you in terms of what's on your interest in terms of HBCU news of the week?
And if my count is right, I believe there are still 7 openings out there in HBCU football. Yeah, I had a list of them, and I'll see if I can go back through the Wayback Machine and figure out what those. So I know where 2 of them at off the top of my head. I can tell you where 2 of them are. The other ones I may have to go to the Wayback Machine. But Tuesday I went into a couple of those hirings, which took some people off the board. Let's talk about a contract renewal or a contract extension, Dr. Cavil, that I did not get into Tuesday. Deshaun Jackson, who was one of those hot names, not only mentioned in HBCU football, but in FCS and FBS football. Well, looks like he's going to be staying at Delaware State in Dover, Delaware. The former NFL star has signed a contract extension through 2028, solidifying his long-term commitment to Delaware State after engineering one of the most dramatic turnarounds in recent HBCU football history. We all know the story of Delaware State prior to Jackson getting there. They had won 2 games in 2 years, and both of those games were against Division II opponents. That the article don't say that. I just know that from from history. But Delaware State did go 8-4 this year, 4-1 at BAC play, including losing the de facto championship game to the eventual HBCU national champions, South Carolina State. So great to see Coach Jackson has fell in love with the HBCU product. It's great to see Delaware State has fell in love with Coach Jackson. I only got one question, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah.
It says extension through 2028. What the hell was the original contract if the extension is only for a couple of more years? So you got 26, 27, and 28. So it's 3 years from now. What was the original contract? Did it just add 1 year? Because most contracts now on a 3 years. So did it just add 1 year to the back end? I'm just curious on that.
That's a great question. I kind of thought about that too. Really, how much did they extend it? But he could have come in on a 2-year contract, and that'd have been extended 3. But even if it was 3, you're talking about extending it for 2 years, essentially. So it's fascinating when you kind of add that component of it. His name was out there, some, according to some, top 3 in terms of their list, obviously. And then you heard some talk about Sacramento State, where he would be going back essentially to California, but both himself and Delaware State found a way to make it work, extended him, and let everybody know that he's extremely happy in terms of what he was able to do. And credit to him in terms of that. Certainly one of the biggest news stories of the year in terms of what he was able to do on the football side. I want to go back to your alma mater, one of your alma maters in terms of FAMU, Pam Oliver, quintessential fixture with the NFL, earns Broadcasting Hall of Fame recognition from HBCU Sports is where this comes from. Pam Oliver has been a fixture on NFL sidelines for many years. As a reporter, last Tuesday, the Florida A&M alumni added another honor to an endless list of awards. Oliver, in 1984, graduate, was inducted into the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame, part of a class that includes the recent retired Lee Corso and the late Greg Gumbel. She is recognized as the longest tenured NFL sideline reporter, covering over 500 games during her 30-year career at Fox Sports. Amazing. Quote, with widespread respect and admiration across the industry, her straightforward and candid interviewing style consistently delivers topical and substantive reports, end quote, the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame said in a statement announcing her induction. Quote, I still can't believe it. My feet have not touched the ground, end quote, Oliver said during Saturday's NFL on Fox pregame show. Quote, I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Fox for letting me grow and flourish, which is why I'm in the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Never thought I'd say those words, but I'm pleased as can be, end quote. Certainly excited for her in terms of what she's able to do. People may not realize, but Oliver graduated FAMU famous journalism school while earning an NCAA and Association for Intercollegiate Athletics Women's, that's AIAW. For you all, some of you all may not realize that at one time NCAA didn't have an organized association for women's sports, and they operated under the AIAW. She was an All-American honors in the 400 meters and the mile relays. She joined Fox Sports in 1995 as a sideline reporter and also served in a similar capacity with NBA TNT until 2009. Oliver is a member of the Florida A&M Athletics Hall of Fame, the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, and the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame. She is truly a Hall of Famer. Great news to see what she was able to get done. With that, let's take our first break and come back on, and let's turn it over, AD Drew. Let's turn it over to the youth, the young folks, and see what they got to say in terms of that HBCU sports news. We'll be right back after this break.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2026? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 30th to February 1st, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
I had to baptize by fire, Doctor.
Yeah, exactly. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Usually with Mike and Charles, we have AD Drew, who's a regular member of the team. But you all see that we have the youth involved in this show. This is Deuce, my son, Myles, Ryan McGinty's son. They're going to talk a little bit of sports to you all. I'm going to start with you, Myles.
Before you go on, Deuce and Myles, can you guys tilt your cameras down just a hair because you click off the sheet? There you go. You too, Myles. There we go. Well, too far. A little bit too far now, Myles. Go back up just a hair. We can live with that. All right, go ahead, Doc. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Good job in terms of getting them straight. As we have these young individuals in here, going to show out a little bit. Myles, you saw Deuce there. You know, you're supposed to be calm when you're doing the media side. I'm going to hand out the trophy for the team that wins, and I caught that on tape. What were your thoughts when you seen Deuce and his excitement with that win?
I mean, it was just I've never seen him so hyped up like that. Because yesterday he just told me
it's a for every game.
I don't see that in him.
Good stuff. I'm excited for you all. I want to know how you all kind of got started in this. You know, I was doing this, and one time I looked up and I was like, what are they doing? And then I realized y'all had a show. I'm gonna start with you, Deuce, and then Myles, I want your perspective.
Well, I like to talk about HBCUs, and doing the story and doing it on YouTube, it's easier to talk to more people about it and show people what HBCU Spirit's about.
Good stuff. Myles, your thoughts on that?
Honestly, it was just something that I wanted to do because it was just something that just kind of felt natural to me.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw you and you were like, we call him Charles Bishop on the show. Deuce often calls him Uncle Alpha. Charles, you call him Mr. Bishop. But you all told him during one of the basketball games, after the women's game, before the men's game, you was like, all right, come in here. I need you to walk in this way. I need you to sit down. And y'all interviewed him on the spot to talk a little bit of basketball. And Stephon was in there listening, and a couple of people were able to come in and saw it, and they were truly amazed just how serious you all were and how much facts that you all brought to the table. Myles, what were your thoughts when you were going through that? How did you figure out the questions you were going to ask?
I mean, I had kind of done it before because I helped my dad with baseball, so it wasn't that hard. So I just kind of knew what to do because I've been to press conferences before, so I just had to do my own.
Good, smart, makes sense to me. Deuce, what were you thinking about as you were forming your questions and getting prepared for that? How do you not get nervous?
Just have to be ready and know what you're going to do and make sure everything is on point.
That's very true. Drew, I'm gonna let you get in here and ask the young individual journalists and podcasters, if you would, their thoughts on this new media.
All right, since this is a family show, I'm gonna bring the family component into this. Now, I've never met you in person, Miles, but I know your dad, and obviously Deuce. And I can say this for those who don't know Deuce. For Deuce to be at such a young age, Deuce can carry on a conversation with an adult and have an intelligent conversation, especially about sports with an adult. Because I know I've sat next to him at many sporting events, and as he's gotten older and matured, the conversation just gets deeper and deeper, and he asks appropriate questions when he don't know. But anyway, that was my sidebar. Here's the question. Now, my son grew up basically around different sport, high school sport, youth sport, and everything. And one thing my son used to always say is, "Dad, you know everybody, and everybody know you." So, Deuce, Miles, tell me, how does it feel to you guys when you're walking around and everybody knows your dad or wants to come up and speak to your dads and everything, and just how does that make you feel as their son? I'll start with you, Miles.
I mean, it makes me feel good because whenever I go to work with my dad, I mean, he has one of the most important roles at the school. So, I mean, it just makes me feel great.
And you, Deuce.
It's good to know that my dad is doing well with his business and stuff and his show. So it's good that he has a lot of people that know him and know how his show's doing. So it makes it easier to share things about HBCUs to people.
All right. Now, my next question before I give it back to Pops over there. Obviously, with your dads being in the industry, you guys probably get to tag along on some of those trips. I'm gonna be honest. I was in high school before I ever stepped foot on an HBCU campus. So, and I'll start with you this time, Deuce. Can you tell me some of the HBCU campuses that you have stepped foot on, and of those that you have been on outside of the two natural ones, Prairie View and Texas Southern? What was your favorite campus?
Probably ASU. They have a big football stadium, and also I like the way how they do everything, and they have everything in order.
And you, Miles? You there, Miles? Did you freeze up?
Can you hear us, Miles?
I'm here.
All right, did you hear the question, Miles?
What was your favorite
I heard
campus?
it.
Okay.
Your favorite
That's
campus
tough
outside of your two
because
home campuses there?
I've been to a bunch because I remember my dad works in the SWAC, so I went to a bunch of SWAC campuses, and I also went to a lot of MEAC campuses. Probably my best one that I've been to, best campus, I'll probably say Howard.
Nice. What did you like about Howard?
Just how large it is, and also since it's in Washington D.C., I got to go see a lot of stuff, and it's just so much to see in that area.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is the capital. They call it the Mecca. Let's get into some talk. Let's talk about some football. You all, starting with you, Deuce. What was some of the players, or one of the players that stood out to you during this football season?
Cam Peterson. I like the way he throws because he's quick with it. He knows what he's doing and he pays attention.
What was your favorite player, Myles? Who excited you the most this season?
I really like KJ Cooper for his explosiveness to throw a deep ball and find open receivers.
Yeah, he was nice with the deep ball. Y'all have some stats on him? Anything stood out to you in terms of his stats? Go ahead, Deuce.
I do actually. KJ Cooper had 1,611 yards with 13 passing touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, and he completed over 68% of his passes. 292 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns.
For Cam Peters, his stats are 279 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns. He has 7 interceptions, 184 completions, 63.7% completion, 500 rushing yards, and he has 5 rushing touchdowns.
Doc, I don't know if this is a product of the times that they can pull up that information so fast, or I don't know if it's that, or I'm just more amazed at the fact that they know where to pull up that information, because you know how we were when we had to figure out how to pull up.
Man, it was a whole different day. So, Myles, what game stood out to you in football this season? What was the biggest game and why did it stand out the most to you?
Definitely the Labor Day Classic, because that determined the whole season, really.
Yeah. Who ultimately won that? Won the West in terms of that matchup. What about that game stood out to you that you remember that kind of stood with you?
The Celebration Bowl this year.
Yeah, that was exciting.
We went to quadruple overtimes.
Yeah, it did. Deuce, what was your most exciting game this year?
The ASU versus Prairie. It was the game that determined where the division would be placed and who would play. It would either be on the West or the East. ASU won, but I think Prairie View put up a fight, but we could have done better.
Yeah, good stuff. What do you think about the championship game, Deuce? The SWAC championship game, I should say.
Good. Prairie View was able to do what they needed to do to get a win. We probably could have played a little bit stronger, but yeah.
What were your thoughts, Myles, as you was watching the SWAC championship game? What stood out to you in that matchup?
Honestly, it was interesting because everyone expected Jackson State to win, but honestly, I didn't, because you realize, I don't think a lot of people noticed, but in that game against Grambling, he was injured, so they were rolling with a backup QB for the whole rest of the season, and so that's why I thought Prairie View had it. And at first, Jackson State had control, but Prairie View came back, and they ultimately got that game.
Yeah, good breakdown. Nice breakdown, gentlemen. Well, let's take our next break. If y'all stay with us, we want to do another segment. We're going to transition into basketball and see what your thoughts are with this upcoming season. Which direction y'all are leaning? Who do you think we should watch out for? We'll be right back after this break with Dr. Will's HBCU Sports Lab for youth with Deuce and Myles. We'll be right back after this break.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with HBCU Sports Lab for Youth with Deuce and Myles. With that being said, let's get back into it. Let's talk a little basketball, HBCU sports basketball to be exempt for the upcoming season. And I'm going to let Drew come back in here with some questions themselves. Deuce, what are some of the teams that you want to look at? Let's start with the women's side. Who on the women's side do you think you should keep your eyes on and why?
Southern so far because they upset at Arizona, but yeah, they have some good players on the team that I think could do some damage if they really try to if they get the ball more. But yeah,
I like that. Good stuff. So Myles, from your perspective, still on the women's side, who some teams that you say we should keep your eyes on? Probably Southern as well, but any other team that you should keep your eyes on?
Honestly, I think even with a lot of players leaving, I think TSU could actually have a really good shot after their really good run last year. I think they might have another shot. But even though some of their players left, I think they still got some other good players from the transfer portal.
Good stuff. Transfer portal. What's your thoughts on the transfer portal, Myles? You good or bad thing? You like
Honestly, I like it because it made the sport more interesting, but it also the downside because other people just kind of want to just transfer for fun, and there's just no reason to do it.
Yeah, that's excellent point. Deuce, you want to chime in on the transfer portal? You got any thoughts on that?
yeah, it's the side that you're on. If you're on player side and your team's not doing so good, it's good for you. But if you're on the opposite side and you need that player to stay because he's the only thing that you need, to transfer portal's not so good. So it's a mixed matchup for either side.
That's an excellent point. If you win it, but the young folks, you were like, good thing. It's your team. You were like, no. So let's get into here. Before we ask for the men, I'm going to let AT come in here and ask some questions. These young folks are giving me the business.
Doc, you know what I have realized?
What's that?
We spend too much time over analyzing this stuff. They make this sound so simple, but it's they actually make a good points, and it's just so simple. Lord Jesus, I got to work on my long-winded answers, and I know I'm probably the worst of it. Thank you to young people for inspiring me to chop out the words out of my answer. All right, so I want to get back to you guys because Doc is asking all of the appropriate sports questions. That's what he do. I want to get on the personal side. Obviously, you two are growing up around sports in general. What are your favorite sports to play? First of all, which sports do you play, and of those, which ones is your favorite? We'll start with you, Deuce. I think I know the answer to yours.
I play basketball and baseball. My favorite sport is baseball because it's easy and I like to hit stuff with the bat.
Go ahead, Myles. Myles is buffing a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's
I also play basketball. I also play basketball and baseball, and my favorite sport is also baseball.
All right.
Yeah, they had a chance to be on the team last year. A little gap happened. This year, they might be on the same team. That will be fascinating. But they coach each other. Deuce is in the 6th grade. They go to the same school. Miles is in the 5th grade. And it's amazing when they talk and sharing notes, and he's giving some pointers on some teachers and asking his thoughts on this teacher. And I'm just like, these are young folk talk.
We did that in college, man. Don't take that, professor. Don't take. Oh, that's an easy A right there. Don't take that one though. All right, here we go, fellas. If I could make you guys commissioner for a day, what would you change about our beloved Southwestern Athletic Conference? Miles, you go first. Commissioner for a day.
Jump in there, Deuce.
Deuce, go ahead.
I would probably give some smaller teams that are not doing so well a bigger budget so they can get better players for their team so they can have a better chance of making it to the flag championship, and helping them get better stuff get better academics so their colleges will go well and people at their colleges will get better grades.
Miles, you're commissioner for a day. What would you do for the Southwest Athletic Conference?
Ooh, okay. So first, SWAC basketball tournament is not going to be in Atlanta. We're going to bring it back to Birmingham and put that baseball. We're going to put the baseball tournament back in Atlanta because that was the best decision the SWAC ever made. But I still don't know who. But one team is going to be banned from that field is because they tore up the locker room and they politely asked us not to come back. So that one team is there.
Man, you a tough commissioner. Don't. He said ban him. You got to go.
I got one last question, Doc. One last question.
Yo.
Okay, and this is kind of a serious question, but you guys are the future of our HBCUs. What would you tell the adults like the commissioner, Dr. Cavil, myself, who work with these schools? What can we do to better involve people at your age to make them want to attend HBCU events now and ultimately attend HBCUs when you get to that age where you have to make that choice? What can we do now to help you guys along?
Deuce, you want to answer that? Go ahead, Miles.
Kind of just mentor us. And just give us more knowledge about what we really have to offer.
I like that. Straight to the point. Deuce, what are your thoughts?
I would do the same thing as Miles, probably mentor, show us the way, show us how HBCU culture is different from other colleges, show us what you do differently, and show us how it's different and why we should go there.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna say this. I wish when I was your age, I would have had my parents would have taken me and immersed me in the HBCU culture like your fathers and your mothers are doing, because I didn't learn about the HBCU culture until I was well into high school, because my family does not have the HBCU roots. So I just want to take a personal point of privilege and shout out both of you guys as parents for making sure that you guys get involved at a young age. But I am going to challenge you. I need you guys to get your classmates involved. If we're going to mentor you, you have to pass it forward and mentor your classmates so that they want to get involved also. Go ahead,
Great
Dr.
points.
Cavil.
Great points. So, Miles, I'm going to end it on this so y'all get back to it. Men's basketball. Well, on the men's side, a lot of action. I know y'all caught some of that game. Y'all saw some of the Chris Paul and some other games. But who has you excited? Who should we keep our eyes on in terms of on the men's side of HBCU sports?
So for the men's side, I chose a player from the MEAC, specifically from Howard. I chose Bryce Harris, a 6'4" graduate guard. He averages 23 points per game and 7 rebounds, and he is number 1 for the Lou Henderson early season watch list, which recognizes the top mid-major players.
That's a big one. Keep my eyes on Howard now. Deuce, who do you think we should keep our eyes on from your perspective?
From Southern, we have Demon Porter. She's 9.8 points, 9.9 rebounds. She has 4.8 assists. She is 1.3 from the field goal at 57.8%. She is good. She has fast movement, and she knows how to move fast.
Yeah.
To the goal.
Staying with you, Deuce, is a team that you want to keep your eyes on the men's side?
Not really. I need to see a couple more games before I can pick that out.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's been early. It's kind of hard non-conference play. Sounds good. Any other team in the MEAC, Miles, that you said we should keep our eyes on? You got one on the MEAC side. What about the SWAC?
For SWAC side, I have another one for MEAC. But this is for MEAC, a long shot. But no one really talks about them. But honestly, they had a solid basketball program for the past few years. University of Maryland Eastern Shore. They've actually had a consistent basketball program, but no one's really been talking about them. But the main team everyone's been worried about is Norfolk State. They're the big main team. I think they got the championship. I think they might probably gonna win that again. And for the SWAC, the SWAC men's changes every year, so I can't really get one answer because it's a lot of it depends on how the strength of schedule, but honestly, I think I probably would give it to Grambling, Jackson State, or Texas Southern.
Good stuff. I'm gonna tell you, watch out for Alabama A&M, Alabama State. I think they're pretty hot, but I like where you're going in terms of those names. I will keep my eyes on that. AD Drew, you had a final one that you want to.
This comes from the people online, from the viewers, some of our YouTube viewers, and No Joe wants to know, what do you guys have for your early predictions in the SWAC? And I'm going to assume let's take it over to football. Way too early predictions for next year for football in the SWAC.
Alabama State.
That was easy.
They had a good football team. Myles. It's Alabama State, you know that. They had a good football team. They've been destroying.
Give me Bethune-Cookman.
Quarterback out, Myles, and they still were winning. They had their quarterback out, and they still were winning.
Imagine
what they have when their quarterback comes back strong.
I'm going to show you my team right here. I'm going
to
show you my team right here. I'm going to show you my team.
It's TSU. I know it.
Bethune-Cookman all the way.
Oh, this was good. Boy, we have to get y'all back on and talk a little bit about baseball.
West,
I
think
we got to get them at least once a month, Dr.
Baseball. Yep. I already know that. It's Bethune-Cookman who's winning baseball.
Miles, you got some baseball predictions?
Oh,
you
yeah.
Sticking with Bethune-Cookman?
I think I can agree. Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, you agree? I agree. All right, we'll take our last break.
I'm going to be at the tournament.
Well, I look forward to seeing both of you guys at Birmingham this year.
Yeah,
and when I do see you guys at Birmingham, I got an ice cream for both of you.
No doubt. You take you out on that. Well, I appreciate both of you all joining. We will bid you adieu. We'll take our last break and come back on the other side. But this is Dr. Cavil's HBCU Sports Lab with you, and that is Deuce and Myles of HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right back after this last break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, and AD Drew. You just heard a full 30-minute segment with Dr. Cavil's HBCU Sports Lab for the youth with Deuce and Myles. I know you had some thoughts that you wanted to share before we got back into some HBCU sports talk ourselves. Go ahead. You have the floor, Drew.
Well, I just want to say this, Dr. Cavil. I saw that look in your eye. I saw that proud dad look during that segment. And I don't know if this was your idea to Deuce or Deuce's idea to you, but I saw that proud dad look and was like, yeah, my boy did it. My boy did that. So I just want to commend you, Dr. Cavil, on just inspiring them and giving them the opportunity, because there's nothing more than when your child wants to do something and you help them do it, and then they actually achieve that goal. There's not a greater feeling as a dad, and you know that very, very well.
No doubt about it. Yeah, certainly very proud. You saw it. I couldn't hide it, I guess. Shout out to HBCU Sports Network. Says it's a great show. No Joe also talked about like what he was hearing, what he saw. We will try to move this forward at least once a month. Obviously, scheduling with them sometimes is challenged because they have their own sports and focus on school. But we'll see what we can do, particularly with the demand. We were hoping it was there, and some great comments. I know some other folks share spaces with their children on those, but we wanted to try to give them their own space to introduce them. As I said, actually started this by themselves, Drew, as you talked about and asked the question. I was moving around and my wife Faith was in there, and you have that parent feeling. You just hear something. She's like, "What is he doing?" So, I go to do intervention mode for.
Let me get you before. Let me figure this out before your mama figure out what's going on. Because I will be the nice parent today.
I kind of peeked in there and I quickly realized what they were doing, and so I kind of let them be, and went and told Faith, and she's like, "Okay," and she smiled a little bit and kept it going. So we talked about afterwards. So they actually did this. They started their own show network. And as I said, they actually were able to bring it over to the school in the middle of the game. They were sitting in Stefan's office, and they interviewed. And I was really amazed because I didn't realize how much they were picking up on and what they knew, and the fact that they had the interest. Unfortunately, as I said, YouTube has a governing policy that you have to be 18 and above. So they couldn't do it from that perspective. So they actually got shut down. So the next option, talking with Ryan that we have now, who actually is a founding member of this show. I like to recognize him every time he's on here. He started the show as actually Mike, Ryan, and myself. And then as Ryan got updated with his career, got too big for the show, had to leave and go to the MEAC at the commissioner's level, assistant commissioner. Charles, fortunately, came in, and we've been trying to do it ever since. And then we partnered with BCSN, which really took us to another level. But yeah, as I finish up on that, really excited in terms of what they do. Shout out for all those that supported them and asked for more. Again, we'll see what we can do. I really appreciate the listeners in terms of providing support. That's everything, just in general, for whether they're college students. A lot of us support our HBCUs, alumni. Certainly when you're talking about high school, junior high, and elementary, what we pour back in our youth goes a long way in terms of their ability to be successful. So once you find something they like to do, you kind of support it. But you talked about the pride I had. I'm sure Ryan was able to sneak in there and see some of that. What type of pride do you have in terms of seeing Myles do his thing?
Well, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, just check it out. But the pride is knowing, because going, we had them accompanying us to these events over the years, and you always want to know, what did they retain from these events, or are we just bringing them on because mama said you need to have the boys come with you, or are they going with you and actually retaining something? Because a lot of times at the beginning, y'all do remember, Dr. Cavil can attest, they'll come to a baseball game, by the bottom of the first inning, they're gone throwing the ball or playing at the park. So they didn't see none of the game. So obviously, I guess the joy I get is kind of like my dad saw it for me, is that they're actually retaining and asking questions. I just ask them. Sometimes he will ask me a lot of questions, my son, and I'm like, the difference is between now and what I didn't have. You can just Google it and type it in, and the resources are there. Then when we was coming up, if the newspaper didn't have it or you didn't know somebody, we just had to get the answer through osmosis sometimes. So I think that's the biggest thing. My joy, just knowing that they acknowledge what you're doing, they're growing in it. I just wanted to take it to the next level, because y'all get access to resources for this generation is way more than what we have, obviously. In some case, it's probably a little too easy for them. I think, with us, we had to hustle. But, I'm trying to make sure I just want them to learn that you got access to everything at your fingertips, and take full advantage of it, but be better than us. You know what I mean? And, we're trying to make the road better for the next generation, just like our parents did before us. So I'm just glad, like you said, that they both are collaborating together, and they go back and forth all the time. So at least I know they're communicating when they, in their free time not in vain, so they're not playing around them video games 24/9, not 24/7, 24/9. So I appreciate the opportunity you've given them, because they've tried to get out here for quite some time. But this it never happens, but it happened today. man, you shut down the man in the middle of our Christmas dinner. But hey, you gotta go when opportunity calls. Y'all know that.
I'm glad he answered. And
Yeah.
please beg for forgiveness for the wife. And I
I
appreciate her
know, and
participation.
no problem. One less mouth we have to worry about.
Exactly.
Ain't no microwave.
Before we get back into some sports talk ourselves and get Ryan's thoughts on this, because he also has some good framework. I want to give a shout out to all those in athletics and all those in the Department of Health, Kinesiology, and Sports Studies, as well as the college education that really take care of Deuce as if it's family. We like to say family, but when people do that and show you that, it's a difference. That's including folks like Dr. Kevin Granger in terms of his leadership, in terms of what he was able to do with the time. I wanted to give him a special shout out because I used to remember when Deuce would stand beside him when he had the game, as if he was the little AD. So that was just fascinating to me. He mimicking him moves. And then beyond that, when you go to different places, Dr. Jason Cavil really gave him some gear, had him all excited in terms of that. And I had to be careful because, I'd be thinking some of these folks be trying to recruit him earlier, get him to his schools and stuff like that. And with Faith being an Alabama A&M Bulldog, I was like, I don't know how well that's going to go on back at home. But it seemed to work out. All is good. Shout out to Dr. Jason Cavil, but a lot of them in terms of that have done that, whether it's Ashley Robinson, in terms of how they treated him. We went to the Bayou Classic. Dr. Travion Scott made sure he had tickets available to get into the Battle of the Band. So they take care of folks, and opportunity, that's a difference when you're a dad trying to see that and you see that taking place. And even like the Commissioner, Dr. Charles McCullough, says, man, I saw your segment. It's good. He said, when can I get an interview? So I was like, man, they got the commissioner ask you for an interview. That's pretty good. Coach Hernandez of Bethune-Cookman gave him a cap, had him all excited, saw the little show and said, I want to interview too. So they got interviews on command. I've been chasing interviews all this time, and they get interviews before I even can. So that's pretty cool in terms of what that looks like. So I want to say thank you for that. But let's get back into it as we got a little time left. I'm going to ask you this, Brian, and I know oftentimes you're concentrated with their Texas Southern, so you certainly see that. But in the mix of that, oftentimes you get to get a little feeling in terms of what's going on. So I want to take you back to the MEAC side. What are you seeing in the MEAC for basketball, men's and women's? What direction do you see the MEAC taking off? What are some teams that you say we need to keep our eyes on for the MEAC side?
Well, this year you don't have the Norfolk State juggernaut in Larry Vickers. He's moved on to the South at Auburn. And I know the coach that replaced him is from Coppin State. So pretty much look like it's wide open. I'll be honest with you. Funny thing about conference play, it's funny is it evolved over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it like that, but it's almost like, and coaches say it, so maybe it's listen to coach because stuff is broken down into 3 segments. For non-conference, what we see right now, conference, and then those 3 days or some days, those 5 days in March. And over the years, I'll use your data points, Dr. Cavil. Pretty much, I've seen it. If you play well at a high level in conference, normally that translates over to non-conference. I mean, non-conference that translates well over to conference. And unless some crazy happens on that first day, normally it translates over to the tournament. I know with the SWAC going to 12 this year, that's gonna be interesting about that. But that's a conversation down the road. But in the MEAC, I'm right now. You all got to just you stick with the champs until the champs are dethroned. And even tradition matters in my opinion. So Norfolk State on the women. And right now, definitely Norfolk State and the men. But Howard, let me say that Howard, both of them, they've always been the ones knocking on the door the last 2 years or last few years on both sides. So I can see Howard women, the way they're playing right now, especially what I've seen with some non-conference wins. I think if they're not in the mix at the end, I'll be surprised because that should translate over.
I agree with both of those. I'm always intrigued about North Carolina Central. Can they get back to their winning ways? They've slipped a little bit. They always have some tough matchups, but it's interesting. Can Coach Moulton historically finds a way to get it done. Can he take that next step? He's had a little challenge, it seems, in the transfer portal. But is he able to find that pieces? And I've heard there's some administrative things, and not necessarily from the AD, but with the change in presidents, how much are they focused on athletics, which is always a challenge, but, it is what it is. I'm going to go with you, Drew, and ask you this from the SIAC, CIAA. I know you get a lot of chance to kind of concentrate your time in the SIAC. But where are you focused? Any updates you have that you want us to consider? Because people don't realize that they're not necessarily focused on that. SIAC has already started conference play.
Both conferences have started conference play. So I'll start off in the CIAA. Winston-Salem State is 10-1 already on this young season, including being 1-0 in conference. And they've played a fairly decent schedule. USC Aiken, Barton, Francis Marion, and they do have a couple conference games with having played Lincoln and Bowie State. So that's one team I definitely want to keep an eye on. And obviously, when you talk about the South, you got to include Claflin. Claflin, we forget about Claflin because they don't play football. But when it comes to basketball, that's a name you better remember. is Claflin. So and that's actually on both sides, both the men and the women's side. In the North, women's side, it's the two Virginia schools. Those are the two schools that you have to look at, but beware of Bowie State on the women's side. Looking at the men's side in the CIAA, Virginia Union, 11-1. I mean, Union, the constant juggernaut when it comes to CIAA basketball. I was very pleased with a Lincoln team that came down to Atlanta and split in Atlanta. They're only 5-7 on the season, but they are 2-0 in conference, everybody. So that's gonna be a team to keep an eye out on. In the South, Claflin, once again, they're only 6-6, but most importantly, they're 3-0 in conference. How about Shaw? They're 9-2 overall, but they're only 1-2 in conference. So Ryan, which one is it going to be? Is it that non-conference is going to ultimately translate over, or is that 1-2 indicative of what's going to happen as they get into familiar foes? Quickly switch it over to the SIAC. On the women's side, you've got Edward Waters, 8-3. We all know Edward Waters was a team. They got injured at the end, but they had a great season. Allen, once again, had a great season last year on the women's side. The perennial power in the SIAC for the women or the Miles Golden Bears. Until somebody knocks Miles off, that's the team to put your money on in the SIAC. On the men's
put
side,
your just put your faith on, not money on, right? Hey, we had to sign some paperwork recently.
put whatever you want to put on it, but that's the team to watch. We'll just say that's the team that has to be knocked off their throne.
Appreciate you there, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for correcting my brother.
Right.
On the men's side, we'll stay out west. Look, I wish I could be in house when Miles and Tuskegee play, because those are clearly going to be the top two teams in the West. Miles 8-1, Tuskegee 7-3 currently. Both are 6-1 in conference. On the East side, it could be one of 5 teams that could come out the East: Clark, Atlanta, Albany State, Savannah State, Morehouse, Benedict. It's gonna be put them in the bag, shake them up, and whichever one of those teams can stay healthy and keep their players eligible is going to be the one that's going to come out. That's something that we need to watch. Pay attention to January, everybody. I don't know about on the FCS or on the Division I level, but on the Division II level, let's see these mid-season transfers, these mid-season people becoming eligible right at conference time. And then on the flip side, let's see if we have any casualties of war in January also, because they good until the first day of classes, and then when first day of classes go.
Good points. Let me give a shout out to Get Up Spencer, representing the Pirates out of Seattle. Much love. Obviously, got Chuck Hunt always serves us and gets in and shows us some love as well. With that being said, I'm gonna let both of you out on this. Ryan, I want to get your perspective on this final piece. I noticed last year SWAC was able to hold their own against the MEAC last couple of years, but I think still a lot of the power seemed to be in the MEAC in terms of what they were able to do. Basketball seems to be shifting a little bit this year. The SWAC has gotten the best of the MEAC, obviously early. Everybody doesn't play everybody, so that's just a small sample size. But you having spent some time in the MEAC and really got to follow it, particularly with basketball, and coming from the SWAC and now back in the SWAC, do you see the gap closing? Give me a shout out also to PV versus everybody showing us some love in terms of great work he does over there at PV.
The gap you can like you said, the data points. I love using that now. I mean, you can tell. I mean, I will say this: when I first got in MEAC, people laugh, but I noticed there was a difference. Just in one time, was a lot of it was just the body types, and then you kind of notice basketball centric area. You look at some of the teams, like, man, this is the worst team. I say they look kind of good to be the worst team in the conference, But then and then you kind of know they kind of embrace a transfer route, or that time, remember you had to sit out a year or whatever, especially Moulton, and then you saw it happen in Norfolk and other places. They embraced it more, and you would see those one and done, those transfer sit outs play at a high level, and then would start leaving early. But I think the MEAC was a little heavy. I think once the portal became the norm, and then I will say this: modern day SWAC, when you saw it firsthand when Tony Harvey was at Texas Southern, he kind of brought that same philosophy over to the SWAC. Transfer sit outs in high level transfers, or whatever they did, they start taking risks. And I'll say risk meaning, if they did something somewhere else, we gave them a second chance without hesitation, and then it worked. Then you saw it transfer over to Mike Davis, and Johnny Jones used it. Now that's a formula across the SWAC, and I see that's why the gap is narrowed. I think when it's kind of saw back, then you got some more basketball minded ADs now. We can go round. At one time, he used to be a football AD. Alabama State, Jason Cavil, former basketball player. Jackson, Ashley Robinson, former basketball player. Texas Southern, prior to Kevin Granger, former basketball player. Travion Scott, a former basketball player. I'm at 5, right? And we got 12 in the SWAC.
Did you get Southern?
And then I didn't even get to Southern. We had Roman Banks, a former basketball player and coach. I'm at 6, and we at half. Bethune-Cookman, Reggie Theus, what was he?
He a current basketball coach.
Okay, that's 7.
And former basketball player.
Look, I'm FAM new AD is a former football player.
Basketball player.
Oh, he played at Florida State. He was a basketball player.
Yeah, he played both at Florida State.
No, I mean the new AD they brought in.
Oh, the AD.
FAM. Yeah, and then Pine Bluff, he was a football guy. Prairie View football guy. And Valley, she comes back. Dale State Shields. And so she best of both worlds. She was a track athlete, but she's been around and she saw Dale State perform at a good level. So I think obviously just the leadership shift in the SWAC has just naturally has narrowed the gap, because now you got basketball minded ADs. They still they understand where they bread is buttered in a lot of cases, but they brought that aggressive mentality over, and that's why I think the gap is closed.
Good stuff. Well, that'll do it for us, the show on Christmas. Hope everybody's enjoying their family. Thank you for tuning us in. Let me thank these two gentlemen for joining me, as well as Myles and Deuce, with the inaugural show of Dr. Cavill's HBCU Sports Lab for youth with Deuce and Myles. We told them we'll try to do it maybe once a month to keep them updated. People seem to enjoy it and like it, so we can see if we can fit in their schedule. So I got another assignment for you, Miles. Ryan. I guess I'm always doing that. He's like, yeah, thanks.
And we need now. Look, they need all the homework they can get. I'm fine with it.
That's right. That's right.
We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. And today I had one of the founding members, Ryan McGinty, and AD Drew, always doing this thing and supporting us and giving us great insight, particularly with his knowledge on the mid-major level. No one quite like him. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday, even on Christmas. Can you believe it? 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyatta. That's on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. So just wanted to give some love there. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Ryan?
Of course.
Yeah. You still remember.
Yeah, you still remember.
I was practicing. Trust me.
Lecture.
Dismissed.
Travel light. Merry Christmas once again, everybody.